In early 2025, a serious case shocked the United Kingdom. The media quickly exposed a perpetrator of horrific crimes, later identified as someone who had completely lost his human dignity. When questioned about when these acts occurred, he remained silent. The investigator continued to press. How long have these behaviors been going on? According to allegations, this Chinese student used sedatives to assault women while they were unconscious or semi-conscious. More shockingly, he recorded all these despicable acts and stored the videos as mementos. Due to his extremely discreet methods, many victims may still be unaware that they were assaulted and filmed. Hello everyone, welcome back to Crime Documentary Files. Today we will explore the case of ZouZhenhao, a Chinese male model who was convicted by a British jury. This case has made him one of the most notorious criminals in British judicial history. ZouZhenhao, known in English as Poco, is currently 28 years old, born into a wealthy family in Dongguan, Guangdong Province. His father held a position in a state-owned enterprise, while his mother worked as a teacher. According to reports, the family owned several valuable properties. ZouZhenhao previously studied at Guangdong University of Technology before moving abroad. In 2017, at just 20 years old, he went to Northern Ireland and began studying mechanical engineering at Queen's University in Belfast. After 2 years, he completed the program and graduated. Then, in September 2019, ZouZhenhao continued his academic journey by pursuing a master's degree in mechanical engineering at University College London. When the COVID-19 pandemic broke out in 2020, he temporarily returned to China, but came back to London the following year to pursue his doctorate. Thanks to his wealthy family background, ZouZhenhao didn't have to worry about finances during his time studying abroad. Besides paying for tuition and expensive living costs, his parents provided him with plenty of spending money. With abundant financial resources, this young man lived luxuriously, owning Rolex watches and a closet full of expensive designer clothes. Beyond his lavish spending, ZouZhenhao was particularly concerned with his appearance. Not hesitating to invest in his looks, he underwent numerous cosmetic procedures including hair transplants, double eyelid surgery, chin augmentation, and dental work. He was also a frequent consumer of high-end cosmetic products, all aimed at increasing his attractiveness to women. With his meticulously cultivated appearance, ZouZhenhao once participated in a popular online dating show in China. Some people questioned whether this experience contributed to his later desire to conquer women. Online, ZouZhenhao created multiple accounts with different identities across social platforms. He built an image of a diligent research student who regularly exercised and frequently posted selfies, showing off his body in various states of undress. In conversations with friends, he often bragged about his capabilities and achievements, even claiming to have had relations with more than 100 people within a year. Notably, ZouZhenhao was also particularly strict in selecting his accommodation. He once posted seeking to rent an apartment with good soundproofing, giving the reason that he wanted to host parties. However, behind this request lurked concerning intentions that would be clarified in subsequent sections. During his time studying in London, ZouZhenhao initially resided in student dormitories in the Bloomsbury area, a neighborhood in the city center. Later, with his abundant financial resources, he decided to rent an apartment outside the campus. His choice was a luxury apartment located on the 39th floor of a high-rise building in the Elephant Castle area of South London. From there, he could enjoy panoramic views of London at an expensive rent of £4,000, approximately $5,200 per month. ZouZhenhao's luxurious life was abruptly interrupted in January 2024, when police conducted a raid at his Elephant Castle apartment and arrested him. During the search, police officers discovered a series of suspicious evidence in the apartment's closet, including synthetic drugs, ecstasy, and other stimulants. Particularly notable was the discovery of an especially dangerous industrial chemical. According to experts, when entering the human body, this substance metabolizes into GHB, a sedative commonly known as the date rape drug, and frequently abused in sexual assault cases. Police also seized a precise measuring tube, believed to be used to measure the dosage of this dangerous liquid before use. The investigation continued to expand when police examined ZouZhenhao's phone and discovered important evidence: a screenshot from a messaging app, This image showed a sedative called Kifu Wan, with packaging information clearly stating it was suitable for general anesthesia. This discovery further confirmed police suspicions about the intended use of these sedatives. During the thorough search, police also found a secret surveillance system. 4 hidden cameras in ZouZhenhao's rented apartment and pinhole cameras installed in his former dormitory bedroom. These devices were purchased from Amazon, where they were advertised as suitable for secret filming. When interrogated, ZouZhenhao offered the simple explanation that he was merely curious and wanted to see what he looked like. However, this excuse was quickly dismissed when police analyzed the search history on ZouZhenhao's computer. Investigators discovered he frequently searched for information about hidden cameras, electronic cameras, alarm clocks with attached cameras, and similar covert recording devices. What shocked the police most was the enormous volume of data collected from ZouZhenhao's electronic devices. Detectives discovered 1,277 videos, totaling more than 6.5 megabytes of data, including 1,660 hours of conversations in Chinese, videos, and over 9 million social media messages. Particularly concerning, some of these videos were confirmed to have been recorded by ZouZhenhao himself, documenting him having relations with many women who were unconscious. Through location analysis, police determined these videos were recorded at various locations, including the apartment in Bloomsbury, the luxury apartment at Elephant Castle in London, and several unidentified locations in China. During the thorough search, police also discovered a particularly noteworthy piece of evidence in the apartment's closet: a golden trophy box. Inside this box were numerous pieces of jewelry and clothing. According to investigators' assessment, these items likely belonged to ZouZhenhao's victims and were deliberately kept as mementos, or trophies, from his actions. When questioned about the large number of videos found on his devices, ZouZhenhao offered the dubious excuse that he was unaware of their existence. He suggested that these videos might have been automatically downloaded due to a mistake on his phone. Although denying the most serious allegations, ZouZhenhao did admit to taking photos of women's faces while they were sleeping, but insisted that this behavior did not constitute a violation. After the investigation, in January 2024, ZouZhenhao was brought to the Inner London Criminal Court to face a series of serious charges: 11 counts of rape, 12 counts of possession of extreme pornographic videos, 3 counts of voyeurism, 1 count of false imprisonment, and 8 counts of possession of controlled substances with intent to distribute. Standing before the court, ZouZhenhao firmly denied all charges. Throughout the trial, police made public appeals, encouraging any potential victims to contact them and provide information related to the case. They established special communication channels to ensure that survivors could safely share their experiences without fear. The police commander also emphasized the highly secretive nature of these crimes. According to him, ZouZhenhao's methods were so subtly concealed that many surviving victims might still be unaware they had been assaulted. For this reason, the investigation team issued an urgent appeal, encouraging any woman who had ever been alone with ZouZhenhao to step forward and share information. The London Metropolitan Police clearly identified the group they were particularly concerned about: women in the Chinese community who may have had contact with ZouZhenhao between 2019 and 2024 in London and surrounding areas. Additionally, they expressed a desire to be contacted by other potential victims who might have encountered ZouZhenhao during his time residing in China. To facilitate reporting, the police established a dedicated online portal for significant incidents, through which victims could contact them safely and confidentially. The question arises: how did ZouZhenhao come to a point of criminal behavior, and how did he carry out these despicable acts? According to the investigation, the first sign of ZouZhenhao's criminal intent was discovered from November 2020, when he returned to China due to the COVID-19 pandemic. London police discovered that during this time, ZouZhenhao had used a rather discreet messaging app in China to download a particularly concerning document: a detailed handbook on using drugs to sedate young women and subsequently assault them. This discovery was further reinforced when police found an advertisement in his phone memory featuring images of women in deep sleep, accompanied by promotional text claiming guaranteed effectiveness. The investigation became even more alarming when London police discovered an additional 7 videos on ZouZhenhao's phone, recording him assaulting women in China. To protect the victims' identities during court proceedings, these women were referred to by simple characters: B, C, D, E, F, and G. The content of these videos was heartbreaking. Among the victims, 5 women were identified as completely unconscious when assaulted. Girl G had a brief moment of consciousness, but despite trying to maintain awareness, she was unable to resist. The case of Girl H was particularly pitiful, as she snored throughout the entire assault due to being in such a deep sleep. As for Girl D, although initially unconscious, she later woke up during the assault and tried to resist, repeatedly begging, "Please don't do this." When this evidence was presented in court, the reactions of jury members clearly reflected the horrific nature of the crimes. Many could not sit still, some even shed tears at the distressing scenes. Some female jury members had to close their eyes, lacking the courage to witness the entire content. Recognizing this strong psychological impact, the judge issued special directives, allowing jury members more frequent breaks to alleviate their distress. A significant challenge in this case was identifying the Chinese victims. British investigators, despite many efforts, have still been unable to track and confirm the personal information of the women in the videos. However, the British legal system still allowed for ZouZhenhao's prosecution based on an important legal principle. Under British law, although ZouZhenhao is a foreign citizen and the assaults were committed abroad against foreign victims, he remains legally liable in Britain because at the time of his arrest, he was residing on British territory. This principle applies to any act considered a crime under British law, even if the victim has never come forward or is even unaware of becoming a victim. This provides a solid legal basis, allowing British authorities to prosecute ZouZhenhao for crimes committed in China as well. A spokesperson for Britain's Royal Prosecution Service emphasized the importance of reclaiming justice for all victims, including the unidentified women ZouZhenhao assaulted in the videos. This representative affirmed that despite many challenges, they remain determined to continue investigating to the end. To expand the scope of investigation into international territory, British police are now working closely with the International Criminal Police Organization, Interpol. This cooperation aims to enhance the ability to identify Chinese victims and gather additional evidence from ZouZhenhao's time living in his home country. According to international media, ZouZhenhao has been identified as a repeat offender with a consistent pattern of operation throughout both China and Britain. After assaulting numerous compatriot women in China, he continued to carry out at least 4 similar attacks targeting Chinese female students after returning to London. Media communications played an important role in finding victims. Thanks to support from widespread media reports, police succeeded in identifying 2 of these victims. After being approached, they bravely cooperated with investigators, providing valuable testimony that contributed to building the case file. However, significant challenges remain in the investigation process. 2 other videos discovered show the same victim, referred to as Girl A. But to date, despite efforts to search, police have still not identified her. These videos record Girl A being assaulted at ZouZhenhao's student dormitory in the Bloomsbury area. One difficulty in the investigation is that police still cannot precisely determine when the incident occurred, whether before or after the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak, making it more complicated to pinpoint the time and context. The content of the first video related to Girl A exposes a painful reality about ZouZhenhao's method of operation. The opening scene shows the girl in a completely unconscious state. However, as she gradually regained consciousness and realized the dangerous situation, she begged ZouZhenhao to stop. In the haunting dialogue, Girl A can be clearly heard desperately saying, "I hate you," only to receive a cold laugh from ZouZhenhao, along with the frightening response, "Don't struggle, it's useless. The soundproofing here is very good." A notable detail in the video is the image of clear scratch marks on ZouZhenhao's back, almost certainly the result of the girl's desperate resistance efforts. This scene provides an important clue about the true motive behind ZouZhenhao's special request when looking for rental housing. He always emphasized that the apartment must have good soundproofing. Now, the true intention has been revealed. He needed a private and isolated space where no one could hear victims' cries for help, allowing him to commit crimes without detection after bringing girls home from parties under the guise of helping them get home safely. Unfortunately, warning signs about ZouZhenhao's abnormal behavior had appeared long ago, but were not addressed in time. Some of his classmates had noticed suspicious elements in the way he treated women. At social events organized by the school, ZouZhenhao frequently made excessive jokes, causing discomfort to female students. Particularly concerning was his habit of persistently pressuring girls to drink alcohol at parties, even personally mixing and pouring drinks for them. Despite efforts from friends to prevent this dangerous behavior, when they tried to intervene and prevent ZouZhenhao from taking intoxicated girls away from bars or karaoke rooms, these measures were not always successful. In some cases, ZouZhenhao still found ways to carry out his intentions. The second video played in court was still about Girl A. According to reports, the content of this video was similar to the first one. Both videos were recorded using a spy camera the size of a thumb, placed on a shelf across the room. When they first discovered these videos, they could not extract audio. ZouZhenhao claimed that the women in the videos fully consented to intimate relations with him. But just before the trial, technicians recovered the audio, irrefutable evidence that left ZouZhenhao unable to defend himself. The girls in the videos were clearly affected by alcohol or drugs, but still begged ZouZhenhao to stop. Seeing such scenes, ZouZhenhao changed his testimony, telling the jury this was just role-playing to enhance excitement, that everything was a pre-agreed script, and the woman in the video was just acting in coordination with him. Additionally, ZouZhenhao recounted how he made these two videos. He said he and Girl A met through a dating app in April 2022. After meeting in person, they had an intimate relationship once. When Girl A came to his house a second time, he discussed with her about special interests. Girl A said she liked wearing uniforms and role-playing, specifically fake rape scenarios, so they recorded this video. Police immediately questioned this, pointing out that the girl in the video was clearly unconscious from the beginning, constantly closing her eyes. How could she be acting? ZouZhenhao even publicly declared that he had relations with at least 5 different girls each month. He would ask girls to close their eyes and lie still. However, during dating, he would ask permission beforehand to film and let the girls voluntarily use those sedatives. And the women in the videos were all helping him realize this preference through acting. In return, they received money and gifts. Regarding this statement, police continued to ask why he liked unconscious women. ZouZhenhao said he didn't know, just felt an attraction. How many questions do you have in total? Can you send an email? Are you stressed? How many victims? 2 people? How long have these behaviors been going on? What makes people even angrier is that when the prosecutor asked if he liked controlling women, ZouZhenhao even smiled in court and said, "I'm good at everything. I'm more excellent than others. I am an outstanding person." In response to this absurd statement, the police commander said that ZouZhenhao was clearly a depraved and cowardly person who violated surviving victims in the most despicable way. Although police still haven't found Girl A during the trial, 2 other women bravely appeared in court, providing testimony against ZouZhenhao and accusing him. Girl Nancy, a young Chinese female student studying in the UK, described how she met ZouZhenhao for the first time in May 2023 when she asked him for help with some math problems. A few days later, she went to the luxury apartment building in Elephant Castle to attend a party hosted by a friend. This friend lived 2 floors above ZouZhenhao. Nancy had been drinking at the party. After the party ended, ZouZhenhao invited her to his room to continue drinking and playing games. Later, he saw Nancy was a bit drunk, walking unsteadily, so he wasn't comfortable letting her go home and let her stay overnight at his apartment. Nancy said that in a state of lost emotional control, she had said she would give him 100,000 yuan, approximately $14,000, to stay, but absolutely not for intimate relations. Unexpectedly, after arriving at the room, she was forced to drink more alcohol, then dragged into the bedroom. In the apartment, their conversation at that time was recorded by a hidden camera at the headboard, activated by a motion sensor. These audio and visual contents became important evidence for the conviction. In the video, ZouZhenhao repeatedly said, drink it all, don't waste it." Nancy felt the other person's behavior was very strange and wanted to leave. At one point, she lay on the floor crying, but ZouZhenhao wouldn't let her leave, pulled her shirt from behind, and forced her to finish the drink. Therefore, Nancy desperately had to drink that large glass of vodka, after which she barely remembered anything, only recalling her head spinning severely, having no strength to resist, then losing consciousness. The video also showed Nancy screaming, crying, and struggling when being assaulted, even sitting up from the bed several times trying to escape, but each time being pushed back onto the bed. When leaving, Nancy was in such a hurry that she forgot to take her purse. The next day, she felt nauseous, didn't want to eat or drink, couldn't sleep, and her mental state was severely affected. Therefore, on May 21st, 2023, she called the London police. The police department even sent officers to her home to ask about the incident details. But Nancy said, due to unfamiliarity with British law, plus language barriers leading to communication difficulties, and the limited proficiency of the interpreter at that time, she did not clearly tell about her experience. As a result, she did not receive a positive response from the police, and no investigators investigated this matter after the report. Nancy felt hurt and didn't know what to do. She decided to give up suing ZouZhenhao legally. Although initially feeling stuck in the legal system, Nancy still couldn't let the incident pass in silence. With determination to prevent more potential victims, she directly confronted ZouZhenhao via messages, warning that she would not remain silent about his evil actions and had contacted law enforcement agencies. Not stopping there, Nancy bravely shared her story on a popular Chinese social media platform. In her public post, she described in detail her painful experience while attaching identification photos of ZouZhenhao. Her purpose was very clear: to warn and protect other women from similar fates, especially female students in the Chinese community studying in the UK. After this information was made public, the London Metropolitan Police Department officially acknowledged shortcomings in their initial handling process. They expressed deep regret that Nancy had not been provided with high-quality interpretation services, resulting in her testimony not being fully recorded during her first contact with the police. Nancy's brave action brought positive results. 8 months after the initial meeting with police, investigators accidentally discovered her public post on social media. They immediately contacted her again, sharing important news. During the search of ZouZhenhao's devices, police had discovered videos recording him plying Nancy with alcohol, along with many images of her being assaulted. Undeniable evidence of his crime. Nancy's voice created a ripple effect beyond expectations. Her post not only helped reopen the investigation, but also facilitated the identification of additional victims. A girl named Elle contacted authorities after reading Nancy's story, revealing that she too had had a similar experience with ZouZhenhao. The coincidence in the testimonies of these two independent victims further reinforced evidence of ZouZhenhao's systematic pattern of crime, playing an important role in building the case file. According to Elle's account, she met ZouZhenhao in August 2021, when she had just turned 19. Initially, the relationship between them seemed normal and consensual. They had one completely voluntary, intimate encounter. In fact, Elle even wanted to develop this relationship into a serious and long-term one, while ZouZhenhao clearly only saw her as a casual relationship. The turning point in Elle's story occurred on September 13th, 2021, her 19th birthday. To celebrate this special occasion, she and ZouZhenhao, along with a group of friends, met at the famous Haidilao hot pot restaurant in London's Chinatown. The evening began in a cheerful atmosphere, with delicious food and a cozy ambiance. After dinner, the group continued their fun at another restaurant, where they were arranged in a private room. Here, everyone drank quite a lot of whiskey. From this point onward, Elle's memory becomes hazy and fragmented. She can only recall a few disconnected images: the scene of herself vomiting on the street and losing her credit card in panic. What's concerning is that the blank in Elle's memory ends when she woke up at ZouZhenhao's student dormitory, with no recollection of how she got there. Still in a dazed state, she discovered ZouZhenhao lying on top of her. Although she tried to ask him to stop, this weak resistance was quickly extinguished when she fell into an unconscious state again. The next morning, when leaving ZouZhenhao's dormitory, Elle still felt extremely physically uncomfortable, with a severe headache and overwhelming fatigue. However, the mental discomfort was much heavier. She constantly wondered and struggled internally, questioning whether what had happened was illegal behavior and whether she bore some responsibility. In an effort to seek answers and clarity, Elle directly contacted ZouZhenhao to confront him. However, his reaction only increased her confusion and hurt. ZouZhenhao completely denied all allegations, asserting that Elle was fully conscious throughout that time. After a lengthy and emotional trial process, the court reached its conclusion on March 5, 2025. The jury delivered the final verdict, identifying ZouZhenhao as a brutal rapist who used drugs to sedate his victims and recorded the assaults through illegal videos. The result of the trial was a series of serious charges established against ZouZhenhao. 11 counts of rape involving 10 female victims. Voyeurism charges related to 9 of these victims. 3 counts of voyeurism, 10 counts of possessing extreme pornographic images, 1 count of false imprisonment, and 3 counts of possessing controlled substances with intent to use for assault. The scope of ZouZhenhao's criminal activities crossed national borders, with incidents occurring in both China and the United Kingdom. Among the total victims, 7 Chinese women were assaulted in their home country, and 3 Chinese female students studying in the UK. A notable aspect of the case is that among all victims, only the identities of 2 female exchange students were identified and officially recorded. The personal information of the remaining 8 victims has still not been verified, reflecting challenges in cross-national investigations and the complexity of the case. Although prosecutors brought additional charges, the jury did not accept all of them. They declared insufficient grounds to convict ZouZhenhao on 2 additional counts of possessing extreme pornographic images and 5 counts of possessing controlled substances with intent to assault. Serena Pike of the Royal Police Agency of England stated, "I want to express sincere gratitude to the women who bravely stood up to denounce the terrible crimes ZouZhenhao committed. They demonstrated tremendous strength and courage. Without a doubt, their testimony helped us achieve today's verdict." Judge Cramer Cottage of the Inner London Criminal Court warned in court that when sentencing on June 19, 2025, he may face a very long prison term. University College London said that after receiving the information, they immediately stopped ZouZhenhao's course and suspended his student status on January 27, 2024. University College London also stated that the school's online portal provided related support for students and staff affected by this case, and the university is assisting police in the investigation process. This case is not just a story about an individual committing crimes, but also a wake-up call about potential dangers in modern society. One might think that higher education, coming from a well-off family, and a meticulously groomed appearance could be signs of a successful individual, but behind that perfect shell was a dangerous predator. The journey to justice for the victims, especially Nancy and Elle, has shown the power of speaking up and the courage in confronting abusers. Although the justice system had initial limitations, their persistence led to ZouZhenhao's arrest and conviction, preventing him from causing more harm to others. Faced with such painful stories, each of us has a responsibility to raise awareness and protect ourselves as well as those around us. Vigilance doesn't mean living in fear, but equipping ourselves with the necessary knowledge and skills to identify and avoid dangerous situations. Finally, the ZouZhenhao case is a reminder that justice, though sometimes delayed, will still be served. Although it took much time and effort, in the end, the truth was revealed, and the perpetrator had to pay for his actions. Hopefully, this story will become a valuable lesson, not only about how to protect oneself, but also about the power of unity and courage in fighting against evil. And that's the case for today. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next videos.